Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode. I am thrilled to be joined by a former dance student and a coaching client. Welcome, Clara. I'm so happy to have you here and for everyone to meet you. Introduce yourself. Tell everyone your age, what you do, and then we're going to get into like the details of coaching.
Okay, well, hi. I'm gonna disclaimer my voice is a little bit gone because I'm suffering from a cold, but yes, um, I don't think I can top Sabrina's introduction, but hi, my name's Clara. I've been dancing since I'm 2, and that's initially how I met Sabrina, but then we got closer and she started to do life coaching, so that's how we reconnected. I'm a behavior technician now, so my career kind of went different directions, but still um, working with kids, which is something that I've always enjoyed. Yeah, that's that's me. I don't know.
Yay.
I don't
And
know.
remind me, how old are you, Clara?
I'm 22. I'm a little baby.
22, yes. So we met in 2019 when I first started teaching at the high school that I'm still teaching at. And that was your graduating year.
Which
And,
we
and
didn't have.
which we didn't have because if you remember that date, 2019, 2020, everything shut down. So we actually didn't get to finish the year, but we stayed in touch. So imagine just a few months we worked together, that I was your dance teacher, your jazz dance teacher, and we stayed in touch.
Mhm.
And a few years ago, would we say 2.5, maybe even 3 years ago? You,
Great.
3 years ago, yeah, you reached out to me through social media to inquire about coaching services because that's when you started your personal development journey.
Yeah.
And I wanted to bring you on today because at 22, very admirable, very inspirational for you to be starting a personal development journey that most of us start after 30. So tell us why you felt called to start doing this work for yourself.
Good question. I think it was a time where I started to like not recognize myself anymore, and I think it was the summer of 20. When did we start working together? 3 years ago?
2022 or summer of 21, maybe?
I can look at my hand tattoos because every
That's true.
everything that we finished, I got one. So
So, just for everyone, if you're listening and
we're
not
like, what?
watching, so Clara commemorated our coaching sessions
Yes.
or the end of our coaching sessions by her tattoos.
Yes.
And we'll get into the details of how we were coaching together in a moment. But just for context, Clara would come and we would work together for a few months at a time. And then
Yeah.
she would go off and live her life and experience everything that she needed to. And then she would come back and we'd
And
work
I
on
come back.
something. Yeah. So
Yes.
every new coaching session or time together brought a new message for Clara, which she tattooed on her body.
So it would have been unapologetic.
Yes.
Yeah, it was that summer. 2022. Summer of 2021. That was like still COVID time. And I just remember like summer, I had a really, really hard time. And that's when I felt like a lot of my emotions were starting to come out. And that was a little bit new to me. So it was a bit unfamiliar. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it was just like a new thing. So then that kind of sparked something of like, okay, this is curious. And then I kind of like let it go. But then it was like year 2022 hit, and during that time I was dancing, and I want to say I just graduated a pre-professional program, and then that's when we started, I want
Hmm.
to say.
Hmm.
So yeah, that year was really, really good. Lots of ups, lots of downs, but I think all of the pressure from the dance industry and sort of just the navigation of it all, I think, can be really overwhelming. So then that's when I decided, okay, who's someone I trust, who's someone that I can talk to, Sabrina. And then she so happened to offer life coaching, I was like, well, this is fantastic because I don't like opening up to people very much about like my personal life, personal things. So I think the fact that you offered life coaching was like, okay, this is a done deal. Like, great. And I'm still a client now. I'm just on pause. So
Yeah. Lifelong client, which
lifelong.
I'm honored to have. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Yes, I remember you came to me at a time where you were confused and
Mhm.
definitely needed some help to regulate and express emotions. And I know one of the important questions that you asked, and I know probably a lot of people have, you were considering therapy versus coaching. And I know you were trying to see the difference. So maybe for people who might be having that same hesitation, like, do I go into therapy or do I go into coaching? Can you maybe let us know for you why you chose coaching?
So I tried therapy in the past, and disclaimer, like therapy is for everyone. Like it's like brushing your teeth, it's like brushing your brain. Like it is so, I think it should be more normalized. Like it's not just, you don't need to have like a list of problems. Like you can just go because you need maintenance. I think I tried different therapists, and at the end they were kind of like, you're good to go. And I was like, no, not really. Like I need like there's so many layers to take off, but I think with traditional therapy, it depends where you go. It depends who you have. And I think with life coaching, it's a lot more personal. It's a lot more, for me in my case with you, spiritual.
Mhm.
I find it to be like more natural and things as well. Definitely like when there's like diagnoses and things like that, like 100%. But even I feel like it's a good pairing. Like even if you do want to do therapy, I think it's still important to have a life coach because you have someone to like keep you accountable. Like you're not really texting your therapist. I can text Sabrina and she'll be like, "Hey, remember this was the goal." And it's like a little bit of like I feel like it's just like more someone in your home base. Do you know what I mean? Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, well said. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank
Yes.
you. Because yeah, you therapy, it's like you're going, but like I said, it's like you're not gonna like text your therapist, like that's
Mhm.
unprofessional, right? But like when you have a life coach, depending on who they are, like you can like you have that contact like with your phone. So I
Mhm.
think that's
Mhm.
better. It's more accessible.
For sure.
Accessible. It's more
Accessible.
accessible.
Yeah. And personal, that's true. That's a good
Mhm.
point. I definitely agree that both have benefits, and you can definitely have both simultaneously depending on your needs. But I think it comes down to seeing what works for you personally. So
Yeah.
for you, you needed something more accessible. You needed something that someone who would keep you accountable, right? Someone who you could check in with.
Yes.
So knowing how you are as a person too, like therapy is great if it's like a one-off and I need to sort through some old traumas. Like when it comes to trauma, definitely please seek a therapist. I think,
100%.
yeah.
But and we talked about that during our sessions. Like I think it's like life coaching and therapy like aren't mutually exclusive. Like you can do both.
Hmm.
And like there's ways, there's like payment plans and stuff. Like if you really want to make it happen, you will. Like listen, we buy like a coffee every day, right? If you like put all that together, you can afford it. So
Absolutely. There's
um
always a way to make it happen.
I
Yeah.
think there's always a way to make it happen. I think we make excuses because it's something that you're going to do for yourself. But I think it's as much as a necessity as like the essentials, right? So yeah, I think like duality, like you can do both at the same time. I think for me, because I already knew you, that was already like my in because the thing is like when you go to therapy, like yeah, it's a stranger. Like I don't want to like open everything up to you. I think definitely like of course it's professional, like they're not allowed to like talk about it, but yeah, I think if you already know Sabrina, like it's just fantastic because then you don't feel like you just feel like at ease. It's like we're just having a conversation. I don't feel like I'm getting like analyzed. I just
Mhm.
feel like I'm like, oh my God. And it's so helpful. Like it's not just like we go into it, like we go into the deep work. Like it's not just like surface level stuff. Like we go into it. And I love that. So
We do go into it, or
go
we did.
into it,
We
like
did, yeah.
deep dive.
Pretty quick too, from what I remember. we dove deep real fast because
Yeah,
that's the way to get results, right? We got to go to the foundation.
I was ready.
You were ready. And I think that's an important point too. You have to be ready to do this work.
I think that's the thing for life coaching. It's definitely more like you have to be accountable,
Hmm.
like you are doing the work.
Hmm.
Versus, I feel like when for therapy as well, life coaching, I feel like you do need to be a little bit self-sufficient and like you want to like do this like for you, and it's like you're doing the inner work, and like that's you're gonna like change drastically, but like it's like you have to want to do it, like no one can force you to be there type of thing.
Absolutely. I think there's a level of responsibility when it comes to
Yeah.
coaching that it's not, I mean, maybe here's where we can decipher. Like, a coach is not here to give you answers or advice. We're here to guide you to find the answers within
Yeah,
yourself.
you have
So,
to want it, like
yeah.
yeah.
So that includes and involves being able to do that inner work and being ready to confront those things that you've suppressed for so long
Exactly.
to be able to release them to then move forward. But definitely when it comes to therapy, it's like they're trained to help you move through certain traumas or things of your past. Like in coaching, we
Yeah.
touch on things in the past, but we don't really spend too much time because it's more forward thinking, goal oriented.
Yeah.
Whereas therapy, it's like, how
You're gonna
did you get here? And
yes.
let's unpack
But
that.
that's what I feel like they should be like you should do them at the same time because like you do get the therapy and like you get like that specific thing for that specific whatever. But then at the same time you also want to do like your whole life update, right? And you're going to need guidance for that. So I think 100% life coach, like
Mhm.
it's so like I find it to be underrated. Like I think people like I think everyone should have a life coach because I think if you're not if you don't know or even if you do know, just sometimes you need advice, but you want unbiased. You don't want a friend's advice or someone you know, like you need professional advice, and then and that's where you go from.
Mhm.
Mhm.
And I think it's the advice that you can then trust within yourself to move forward
Because it's
with.
like you, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas, like, again, I'll say it, I'm not here to give you advice. If you ask me what I would do in this situation, I could share with you, but it's also knowing that you are your own person with your own experiences, and it's encouraging you to figure out what works best for you.
Yeah.
And just because it worked a certain way for me, like maybe you could try it if you
Yeah.
feel called to, but I would never push my beliefs or my systems on you or on anyone, right? It's more like if you want an idea of what you could do, here's an option, but then it's like based on what
Exactly.
you need, you kind of discover for yourself what's the best way to move forward.
Yes, I agree.
Yes.
I agree.
Yes. So let's take us back to 2022, that first session. When
Yeah,
you started with me, how were you feeling? And then after that first few months, how did you feel?
I don't
Feelings.
remember.
Yes. So let's
I
talk
think
feelings.
when we started, I started and I remember lost. I was uncertain, and with those feelings came like anxiety and just like uncertainty, I think, and not
Hmm.
knowing. Like some light bulbs are going off now, like I'm trying to like remember.
Good.
And so when we started, even after the first one, I felt like even right now, like I'm sick. So like right now it's like all congestion, right? But I just felt like it was like, you know, feeling better, feeling better, feeling better, like after every session, right? So
Removing those layers. Yeah.
yeah, because I feel like it is like layers, like you're shedding, like almost like a snake,
Yeah.
literally, like shedding
Old skin.
skin, like
Yeah.
it's uncomfortable, but after you do it, you're gonna be like, oh, that feels so much better, right? Like a workout, like anything. So I think like consistency, like my first one, I felt like, oof, okay, like it's hard to talk about. Like it's not easy. This is not easy work. But then like as sessions went by, I was like, oh wow. And but then I felt me being different like in my life too. Like and I started to see things differently. I was like, wow, like people are interacting with me like really differently. Or I would have never done that before. Like I went to a event by myself and I had like the best time and like people were there and I knew people were going to be there, but I just didn't go or felt the need to go with like somebody I knew or anything. I was just like, no, let's just go. And I got there and like everyone was so happy to see me and everything. And I was like, it was great. And never would I have done that before because we worked together. I was like, yeah, I can do it and it's totally fine. I felt like it was bringing a new me, but also bringing like my childhood me back where like I just like, are we allowed to swear?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay. I'm not sure.
Feel free.
I
Be
was
you.
like, it was just like, I don't give a fuck. Like bringing that like small me back, like child, kid
Mhm.
Clara, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, I'm just gonna do it. So I felt like working with you was like bringing those parts of me back. Yeah, I feel it's like puzzle pieces. Like it was like taking the parts of me from the past, from the future, whatever, of just like being present and like being like I don't give a shit, like let's just live. And yeah, I felt like you helped. I think it's like everything I need, like everything you need is within you, but you need that help to go and like get it. And I think like that's what you did and are doing.
Wonderful. Thank you for saying that.
There we go.
Yes, thank you for saying that. Yes. I think, you illustrate how we all lose our way and lose connection with ourselves because of our experiences. So I know a big part for you was high school experience, which a lot of us can relate to. Then for me, it was, my career and just being so focused on climbing the corporate ladder that I lost touch with, did I really want this anymore? And the answer was no, I didn't want this anymore. So I think coaching helps you to kind of unpack or get back to your true self. And by seeing, by seeing you and saying inner child, it's kind of like the inner child is the purest version of you, the version that's untainted, that just wants joy, that wants happiness. And we lose her because we're chasing happiness externally. We're chasing success in different ways and external validation. And you're worried about what everybody else is going to think that you forget to think about yourself.
Very well said. Snaps, snaps. Fingers.
So that's what we do with coaching. And I'm happy that you were able to experience that. And so, what made you reach out again and again and again to me?
You know what? I felt like I liked the way we did it because so for Sabrina and I, we did it in like 3 month increments because also like my schedule and everything, but like it was consistent. It was like once a week we're doing this. I think I kept reaching out because it was always something new. Like at first it was like wanting unapologetic,
Hmm.
and then after it was change. And
Hmm.
like a lot changed. And like I feel like those are like really big years of like change for me, very uncomfortable, very uncertain, and I definitely needed guidance for that. And I felt like because I knew with our first like chunk that we did that like I was able to do it and that like it worked. And like after that first like 3 month thing, I was like so good. Like best self. Like I like I remember even like now like couple years later, like I remember like best self. And then I felt like I went out and I like did my thing, but then I felt like myself like digressing
Hmm.
into like a little bit of like an old version. And that's when I was like, oh, okay. And then like environmental factors, right? Like people, places, things. And then I was like, okay, so reach out. And then I think what it is though is that it's like upkeep, right? Like you think you can do it all by yourself, but the thing is that you can't. Like sometimes you just need some help. So I think I would reach out to you to continue because I knew that it worked. Like plain and simple, like 1 + 2 = 3. Like you got Sabrina, me, we did it, it worked. Okay, so if it
Hmm.
worked once, it'll work again. So yeah, and I think every chunk that we did was like different.
Hmm.
And then now it's like more flexible because it is like it's like when I need it. But it took those hard times to get there.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But then you also gain the tools throughout the process to be able to now have them
Yeah,
to use them, right? And then when you need that extra little check-in is when we'll speak. But
exactly. So like
hmm.
I felt like all of the things that we learned, like even I think like recently, what was it?
Hmm.
I remember like I reached out, I was like, this is what's happening. And I'm like, and I felt myself like going back. I was like, why am I like questioning my worth right now? And then I like it. You just like kind of made it like jovial, like why do you care? Like why do you even care? Like what this or what that or this person? And I'm like, and then you made it like just clear, and I was like, wait, yeah. And then sometimes I just like think when I'm in those situations where I'm like, wait, what am I doing? Questioning myself? Wait, we just spent like months on that, working on that. Like, why are you gonna like it takes one human to like poke at that almost and like test you. I feel like it's like the universe sending people to like test you. And then you're like, hey, whoa. And I think it takes that like presence. You have to be like, hey, wait a second. And like those are the tools that I like learned with you. It's like having a toolkit. Like that's what I do with like my kids at work. It's like you have a toolkit and you have like your things in your toolbox and you use them. It's not just for kids, it's for adults too, right? So yeah, I think we definitely explored all the things. There's more things to explore always because life is continuous, but I think you taught me the tools that I needed in that moment so that I could live, and it sounds like so sad, but like to live well and like well-being. Yeah.
And you bring up a good point. It's practice, right? It takes practice because,
Yeah.
contrary to what certain people may believe, yes, you do this work, but the work's never done. It's
No, it's
ongoing.
continuous.
It's
Yeah.
continuous. So yes, you gain the tools. And I think, as you explained, in the beginning it was hard, but then when you were confronted with that situation again, you were equipped to be able to deal with it, to move through it faster. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's not going to come up because it always will. It's how you
It,
react to it, right?
well, that's the thing I think. And I think at the beginning, that's what I thought. I'm like, oh, well, I did all this. So like now nothing bad's gonna happen. And like, I mean, like I'm blessed and I'm grateful, like I'm healthy and everything, but life externally is going to keep coming at you no matter what, no matter where you are. You can be on like the happiest resort of your life and there's still going to be life experiences that are going to like rumble you up a bit.
Mhm.
But that's why I think it's so necessary to have a coach so that it's because it's for life. It's a life coach, right? So it's having those tools to like deal with those situations because you can deal with them at a grocery store, at your job, in your home. Luckily, I don't because I have a fantastic family, but some people don't. And it's like dealing with it. So, yeah, having the
Mhm.
tools, and I think 100% like working with you, like you gave me tools and then also allowed me to like discover tools that I had within me that I didn't even know. So,
Yeah. Because you have a lot of power within you, a lot of magic.
oh, a firecracker, just sometimes you need the little lighter to
Yeah. And I could supply a little bit of that initial light and then you take off. You
synthesize the oil and, and then we can spark it up.
and you do all the work as well. Like it's
Yeah.
it's a give and take, but most of it is you. So I think going back to what you said in the beginning of like this is for somebody who's ready to do that inner work because
Yeah.
if you're just coming for a cookie cutter easy solution, this is not
In
for
the
you.
wrong place. And I think like it's like a band-aid solution, right? Like everybody wants these like quick fixes. And I'm fully guilty of that too. Like I remember my friend and I were laughing about this the other day, but like all the like online courses that you buy, like get better in 21 days, this, that, even on like social media. And it's like, no, you're not like, can you improve your life? Yes, but there's no cure all. And I think that's just a reality that you need to accept because if not, like it's like self-deprecating, like you're setting yourself up to fail 21 days to be like perfect. And it's like, for what? Like, that's not going to help your mind. It's not going to help your body. That's really bad for your mental and your soul and everything, also. So, I think it's really important to know that, like, there are things to help you become a brand new person, but like, perfection's impossible. So, don't strive for that. But yeah, you have to put the work. Like I think like people think like you could buy something like 19.99, get better. Like no. It's not about that. It's how you apply it, but like you're doing the work. So I think if you need that extra accountability, I have so many self-help books that have been there collecting dust because it doesn't work for me because I don't want to just do it by myself. Like I need that social interaction. So that's why I think if you want to get better and improve, do life coaching, but know that like you're doing the work. But I think what helps is that you're also there to catch us. Like,
Hmm.
okay, see you steering off a little bit, Kate. I'm gonna, you kind of help us go back on the train tracks, which I think like a book isn't gonna do that. It can't talk back to you. So
True.
I think it's better to go for the human experience
Yeah.
than a course or whatever.
Because I think books and courses, we've all done them and it gets you to a certain point. But then, like you're saying, Clara, like you need to put it into practice. And only by putting into practice will you know, is this working or not? And if it's not working, what do I do? Like the book's not going to tell you, the course is not going to tell you, what do I do? And that's where you need the live, like interaction of like, okay, what did you try?
Yeah.
Why did this not work? What else could we do instead? Like you just maybe sometimes need someone to ask you those questions to help you reroute. And it's asking the hard questions that, and I say that all the time, asking the hard questions that you're not maybe willing to ask yourself
And that
because
you
you
don't want
don't
to
know
hear.
and
And
you
that,
don't want to hear. But then once you do admit it, then it's like if you're alone with it, you're like, okay, well now what? Like I've just admitted this to myself. What do I do now?
like during the session, like you're gonna have so many like little light bulb moments, and it's gonna be like, whoa. It's really important because you can one ask Sabrina that she records it because then you can watch back and be like, oh my God, my brain at that moment. It's like a life movie type of thing. And then you can also, but then you're gonna be there to be like you remember. So I'm
Mm,
like, remember when we were, and then you're like, oh yeah, then you said this. I'm like, oh yeah. It's just like you need someone there with you to like help you through the process
mhm,
because during the session you're gonna light bulb, spark, spark, spark. And then like Sabrina kind of just like helps marinate it and like make it like present it to you like here's what you just discovered and you're like, whoa, that makes so much more sense. Yeah.
mhm. Package it in a way that you could see the
Packaging it.
difference. Yeah.
Yes, packaging it and you present it in a way that like our human brains can understand and then
Mhm.
go from there.
I think another important point you brought up too in that was allowing you to see a different perspective.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Because working alone, obviously, we see our own perspective. And even if you're open to seeing others, there's only so much you can have access to. Whereas when someone else comes in, someone like me, a professional, comes in and says, but have you thought about it this way? Have you looked at it this
Yes.
way? And gives you options to then have you decide at the end of the day. It's your final decision, but it's being open to see what else is possible. And I think a lot of us feel stuck because we don't see those possibilities. And it's okay because we only know what we know. So bringing someone in who's been through it and who's seen different approaches can then give you those options to choose from to then say like,
Yeah.
this is what works for me, or let me try this, or I didn't think of it that way, right?
Yeah, I think having someone there to I think it's just making me think of like similar to therapy, like they can't bring in their personal life. Like that's something that they're not
Oh,
allowed to
that's
do.
true. Hmm.
So I think if like I said, duality, like you can do that. And like, yes, therapy is fantastic. Like I don't want to like dispute that. It's
Hmm.
great for certain things, but I think as you're doing that, like I said, 100% have a life coach because then you also need to talk about experiences and you also have to hear a different perspective and hear, oh, well, this is something I went, this is maybe how I would do it. Like we can have that open kind of non-taboo conversations, right? So, and also sometimes you help me and you're like, oh, well, this is something that you could bring to, you know, but then there's also some things I'm like, oh, well, I had a hard time. Like, I feel like we didn't spend enough time talking about that in therapy. And then you're like, let's dive in. Right. So it's like working together. I think it should be like if you're going to do that, get a life coach. I think so.
Yeah, they do work well together.
I
Absolutely.
think so. I think
Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
Hmm. So, Clara, we've spoken about it, therapy versus coaching, your coaching experience, but if you had to put it into your own words for someone who's never experienced what coaching can bring them, how would you describe an experience, well, working with me, but in general, what is coaching for you?
Spiritual roller coaster.
I love that.
I think having someone to guide you through something you're going through without holding your hand. So, like spiritually and figuratively and physically helping you be on the right path without holding your hand. Like at no point did I feel like it was like I need Sabrina for this. It's like, no, Sabrina's teaching me the tools that I need for this, which I think is good because then it doesn't build like a codependency of like, I need this for the rest of my life type of thing. So I feel like it's like literally like a train track, like you're or like a sidewalk, like you're there and you're like walking with me, but like I don't feel the need to hold your hand. And also you won't let me in the sense that like if you're going through a really hard thing, Sabrina will help you deal with it, but not have you depend on her. And I think that's the real difference between therapy and life coaching. Therapy you can do for your whole life.
Hmm.
Whereas life coaching, you're gonna have those tools where you could do it by yourself. So it's like a bit of a different practice. Yeah.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah,
that, building that independency.
thank you for saying that because that's a big part of what I try to do is equip you and give you the tools to be able to do it on your own. Because it's right, I don't want you to become dependent on me. It's not what it's about.
And it's not easy for me and it's not easy for her. Like, listen, Sabrina's been with me for like, it's been what,
6 years now?
6 years? 6 years. So she knows everything. So it's also what I realize is like it's not easy for you to be like, well, I remember there was a specific time where I was really having a really hard time in life. And I would go to Sabrina. I was like, I really need help with this. Like my brain was just, it's like you go in a spiral, like a toilet, like literally like that. And at first, she was helping, but then she kind of like without saying anything was just like letting me deal. And then I was thinking, I was like, no, like I really need, and I was like, wait, she's doing this so that I can deal with it, which a lot of people like that's the thing. What's different is that in therapy, if you go, they'll take you and it's just like, okay, let's do it. But the thing is that you're going to be dependent on that for the rest of your life. Versus where I feel like with you, you gave me the tools where it's like, you can do it and you need someone there to tell you that you can do it because some people don't have that person. I'm really blessed. I'm really grateful. I have an amazing family. I have an amazing support system. My mom, my dad, my siblings, like my family's fantastic. I have a really, really strong circle I have good friends. I have an amazing partner. But some people don't have that. And you need that cheerleader sometimes. So I think if I can put it into one phrase, like Sabrina will be your cheerleader and she'll be cheering you on, like on the stand, off the stand, during the game, not during the game, type of thing.
Wherever you need it.
Without
Yeah.
getting like emotional, but like, yeah, wherever you need, like you're cheering the person on in silence or actively. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
I'm
thank you.
so proud of you.
I'm proud of
I've
me and you too.
Thank you. But I'm happy that you said you're proud of you because that's something that we worked on in the very beginning as well. And for a lot of people, it's hard for them to say, I'm proud of myself, but to see how far you've come. And yes, I met you when you were 16, but we really started this work when you were around 19, with most of it being 1920, which is, I mean, I remember when I was 1920, that was a time. That was quite an experience in my
It's
life. Like that's
a time. It's a
uh, yeah,
yeah.
because you're just becoming an adult and you're maybe expected to know everything and have all the answers, but you're
You
still trying to
don't.
figure shit out for yourself.
You don't. Like you enter your 20s, you're like, but it's
Yeah.
also not like what it was like years ago. Like it's so different now. Social media expectations, money expectations, like this economy and everything, it's so challenging. So I think yeah, you need guidance and 100%. Like I think life coaching should be a birthright for everybody.
And especially at that age, like I love working with 19, 20-year-olds like you, Clara, because I feel like that's a moment where there's still so much hope because you're young
Like molding
and
and
mold, yes, and really giving you those tools that you could use for life. that you
Yes.
then don't have to enter your 30s and start re-questioning again or start from scratch because you have the foundation to know that if you do change your mind or you want to evolve or you want to do something different, like in my case, you then know how to approach it. And it's not feeling like a failure because you chose something at 20 and then at 30 you want to change your mind, but you're not
Wow.
supposed to. Like, you
That's
know that it's
Mhm.
okay.
Younger, and I think we talked about this at one point. Like they don't teach this in school. Like you graduate high school, you enter like we're in Canada, so like you have like CEGEP. CEGEP is kind of like a joke, and then off to university you go, but then you're like, what? And it's like you're like expected to do so many things by society, but then you also have to like figure out your own self and you have to know what to do, where to go. And it's like, what? Like there's no like guidebook in this in high school. They kind of just expect you to fail, if I'm gonna be honest. The system just wants you to go like that. And then I mean, yeah,
You're
it's
on
like
your own.
yeah, because if everyone was successful, like so many like places would not be like, do you know what I mean? Like if everyone was like great, then like the world wouldn't really make sense if that makes, like
Mhm. There's
enterprise
a,
and companies, they
yeah,
would be like going bankrupt because everyone's doing so good. So I think,
exactly.
yeah, that's a whole other
Oh, it's a whole other episode and
that's a
topic
whole
in
other
itself.
episode is
Yeah.
this system that we have to live
Yeah.
in, education system and everything. But I think, yeah, getting to that time where like you're gonna be leaving high school and everything. I mean, like give yourself some grace. Like I gave myself like 2 years of just like kind of like, exploring, see what I wanted to do. I did pre-professional dance and everything, but then I was like, you know what, I want some guidance here. And then so I think it's great that you offer that because then I was like, I can go to Sabrina and then you help me, like I said, like guide me on a track without holding my hand, but just walking me through it.
Mhm. In your experience, would you say that we worked more with your mental health or your emotional health or both?
Oof, both. I think like again, they kind of intertwine. I think it was like mind, body, and soul. My voice is getting like shaky talking about it, but I think it was a revelation of my mind changing, my body changing, my health, my circumstances. So yeah, and I didn't know or anticipate that. I didn't know that like your brain kind of changes every like 7 years. And I was like, like 21, whatever. So I was like, yeah, like you need that guidance because your brain, your mind is literally going through physical changes. And like, yeah, there's a reason why your emotions are all over the place and why it's like kind of like your messy 20s because your brain changes twice in those 10 years at 21 and then at 28. Like your
Mhm.
mind's changing and shifting. So I think it's really important to like have that guidance. 30s too and 40s too, but I think what's really and I remember you said like you have to be proud of yourself because you're so young and like coming to like because pe- I know so many people at like 20 whatever and they're like life coaching like I don't need that and I'm like I kid you not I look at all the people not judgingly just observing the people that I used to know that I don't know anymore or just people in general and I look they're all in their 20s and I'm like told you just kindly like told you like it's not it's not that you're weak that you should go like it's because you want to strengthen yourself. It's not like a sign of weakness if you're seeking help. I think if you just want to better your life, go for it. So I
And the way
think
I see it, yeah, the earlier you start, the longer you have to experience the life that you want. And you don't have to wait until you're 40 to make changes.
no, I feel like if you we have everything so accessible to us now that like there's literally no excuse. If you have the means, then do it. I think your mind just stops you because you're so comfortable being in a state of like what you're comfortable with. And then yeah, you got to break out of that because you don't want to be in a state of comfortable for the rest of your life. You want to like live.
Yeah, you want to grow, you want to evolve, you want to experience new things. And
Yep.
I think if already at 20 you're getting comfortable and safe in your comfort zone and you don't want to leave it, It's kind of like you need to have these experiences at 20. And it's also not about having it all figured out. I think that's something too. Like, we don't talk about figuring shit out. It's more like, how do you feel? Connecting with your intuition
Ah,
and then deciding from there.
it's not like I feel like maybe like there's like stereotypes and like things that people think that life coaching is, but what it's really not. It's not
Hmm.
like you're doing like a Pinterest life board and it's all that like no, like you're really going into like deep work and depending on like I said who your life coach is, Sabrina's like spiritual confidence like I would actually even say like she's helped me with my trauma and like that's something that I can attest to like Sabrina's absolutely helped me with my trauma and like childhood trauma and things like that so it like it's like it comes up in conversations it's not just saved for oh no we can't talk like no we talk about everything
Yeah.
so it's not necessary to have it figured out and like you can just if someone can like take anything away from like the podcast is like please know that going to ask for help is like a sign of strength and not weakness. Like if you're actually able to acknowledge that you need some guidance and help and you're able to ask for it, that's a really big sign of strength. And I tell my kids all the time, like that's a sign of strength. So you need to be proud of yourself for that. So again, like I said, like stereotypes for life coach, like it's not cookie cutter things like here's a course, here's a paper, here's a prompt, you're done. Like no, like it's like Sabrina is like in it, you know?
Hmm.
And I can't speak for all life coaches, but the ones that I know, like Sabrina in Sabrina Circle, like fantastic. And like this is like coming from like my heart. Like this is I think if anyone needs like that guidance, like go and ask because even if it's unfamiliar, like I don't really know what to talk about, it's okay. Like you're gonna help. It's a roller coaster of spiritual and mental and body and everything, but like Sabrina's there to make it make sense, make it a nice abstract picture instead of like scribbles. There you go.
A
There you go.
Picasso.
That
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. As a coach, my job is to meet you where you're at.
Mhm.
It's to help you
Yes,
in the moment.
expectations.
Mhm.
You don't set me with expectations right from the get-go. You're just like, here we go. Like you evaluate it and you're like, here we go. And then from there, it's not like, oh, well, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. I hate being told that. I
I
hate
will never tell you that. That for me, that's a swear word. Should is a swear word because no, you
should
should not be doing anything.
no, no, should
No.
not be doing anything. Like I'm my body and that's it. Like you can't tell me
Mhm.
shouldn't. That's for me to choose. You know,
Mhm.
not like it's not like you're a 5 year old anymore. Like you're an adult. So
Yeah.
yeah.
And it's taking responsibility, being accountable for your actions, uh,
Yeah. You also
choosing,
hold us accountable. Like when I'm in the wrong, you'll be like, Clara,
I'll call you out.
she'll call me out on my shit all the time.
Yes,
Unapologetically so.
exactly. Because
Yeah.
you need to know.
When
And
you
then you'll be able to call yourself out eventually. But I'll
yes,
be that
you're out
voice
of that
first.
like that
Yeah.
victim state, like she's doing this like for you so that you're not like, no, but like because of this, like it's really like I'm the victim in this. And you're like, no. Like you help me really like not be the victim of any sort of like environment. So
Empower you to be your own person and
yes.
to question why you see yourself as a victim too. It's kind of like there's the hard question, right? That comes up. It's like,
Yeah.
why am I seeing myself like this? And then how can I empower you to move past
Yeah.
that to really be
Yeah.
accountable and learning from your mistakes? Because here's the truth. You come to me as a coach, I will ask you, and like we did, like, what's your goal? Because we need to have something we're working towards, right? So it's not just in the void of I want to feel better. Like I want you to get specific of like what's your goal? And for you, it was confidence in the beginning, that
Yeah.
unapologetic confidence, right? So we had something to work towards.
It's almost like I laugh because I so don't give a shit anymore, but like to the point where like really like I don't like I'll be walking, humming if I want to like sing like I'll sometimes talk to myself. I'm like I really don't care and like I'll make funny face like I don't know things are like coming out. I guess like I'll start making like funny faces more. I'm so silly with my partner like it's hilarious. like with my family, in my life, my friends. Like I just, yeah, you don't care.
You're
Like
comfortable being yourself.
yeah, so much. So, and 20 at 22, not figuring this out like 30, like 10 years later, like at 22, I'm being like,
Exactly.
yeah, I'm just myself, like truly, because
Yeah.
it's exhausting. Truly, you'll realize how exhausting it is, like trying to be someone you're not. And then once you just try to be yourself, you're like, oh, life's like not that bad.
Yeah.
It's a little bit easier. Yeah.
And I love to hear that because that's exactly what I want everyone to experience. And even more so at 22, because then you could live your life being yourself and not having to
Yeah.
always second guess and worry about what other people are thinking and hold back.
Yes, because I feel like, and like you just like said that right now, and it like something went off in my head. Like the reason you're overthinking and the reason why you're like going like this is because you're not being yourself. Because it comes with it. Like if you are truly being yourself, you're not caring what anybody thinks because being yourself, well, you're going to be confident because no one is being themselves if they're insecure. You're not being yourself. Like that's you're not being kind to yourself if you're saying that. Like no one is being themselves if they're being mean to themselves. It should be easy to be yourself because you just are you. That's it. You're kind of just give up the act of trying to be someone you're not because it's exhausting mentally, physically, everything. Give up on trying to be someone else. Just be you. And it's so easy. And you just have fun. And if you are in an environment where you are like, whoa, like, why do I feel like I can't be myself right now? You're not the problem. Leave. Literally leave. Like, it's not even worth it. Like, I just left a place that I was working at
Mhm.
and I'm fully focusing on like my full-time job, which is with kids, behavior technician. Love it. And I feel so much better, because like you want to stay because well, this is so fun. And no, it's not. No, it's not. Once like if you leave a place and you're better, then you know that you were not the problem. That place was. So
Yeah.
that's a little sprinkle of tea for you there.
Thank you for that. We're going to talk offline about that situation though.
Oh yeah.
But but thank you for saying all that. I mean,
Yes.
I couldn't have said it better myself. I've
Yeah.
taught you well. I've taught you well to follow your heart and to really
But
be true to who you are and to be observant. Like if you feel a certain way that you can't be yourself in an environment,
leave. Be gone.
exactly.
Block button. Just block it in real life. Like bye. And it's not like about avoiding places, but yeah, like don't go to places that you don't feel good in. Like
Mhm.
go work somewhere where you actually can feel like you can be yourself. If you feel like you can't, there's a million other jobs. Okay,
Yeah.
like I get it, like means to an end. Like sometimes people just have to tough it out. 100% get that. No job is perfect. 100%. But evaluate it. Like, if you can like take one off, do it. Take off the places that like don't make you feel good if you can.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thanks. Might I add, not wearing a spick span of makeup right now, never would I have been doing that without this lady's help. So, because literally, because I'm in a space where I feel good, I feel like, okay, yes, the beauty filter's on, but like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Because your glow comes out once you're yourself. You just don't,
Inner glow.
yeah, if I can just say something like, just don't care. Like it's so much easier that way. Like your life is easier when you don't care. Trust me. Trust Sabrina. Trust anyone. Like once you stop caring, like literally just don't give a shit. Like who cares? It's your life. These people this is what my partner said. Are they paying your bills? No. Are they cooking you food? No. Are they providing you a house like to live in? No. Then they're not really important. And he's right.
Hmm. Perspective. Yeah.
Yeah, he's right on that.
And do you feel that the work that we've done together and coaching in general has allowed you to step into this version of yourself that you're super proud of?
100%. And I think 5 to 6 years ago, I wasn't this. It's like year after year after year after year.
Hmm.
You leave high school and you're like, oh, now I got to figure it out for me.
Hmm.
If you can get the younger you can get a life coach, the better. And I don't think like I think even if you are in high school, you can absolutely get one. You don't need to be 30 or 40 to have a life coach. You can be 16 and have a life coach. It's like mode de vie. It's like your lifestyle, especially for students, dancers, because Sabrina's a dancer. If you can just book a session, do it. Just try one, and then you're just gonna see what we're talking about. Like, it's a revelation of everything. Like, you just have to experience it. Experience one session with Sabrina, and then tell me. And then tell me, no, I don't want to do it. Highly doubt it. Once you're in, you're gonna be like, yeah, I'm in. Where do I sign? You know what I mean?
Thank you for that vote of confidence.
Oh
I
no.
appreciate you.
Guys, this is not a promotional video. This is coming from, you don't do that. This is coming from the heart. Yeah. Of
Thank you. Thank you for that.
course.
I am so happy to see you thriving and being yourself, your most unapologetic, confident self that you were meant to be, and
I
to
gotta get
remind
another one.
yourself
I gotta get another one, like just like,
a reminder. Yeah. A reminder tattoo. Yeah.
yeah.
So thank you for being here today, Clara. Thank you for sharing, for being vulnerable, sharing your experience, your story.
My mind
Hopefully,
made sense. It kept going in different directions, but
but that's what we're here for, to go into all the directions and
all
then
right.
for me to bring it back and to
Yes.
say, okay, let's talk about this. But hopefully, for those listening and watching, this was inspiring. It gave you some insight into what coaching is, what coaching can do for you, the difference between therapy as well. We spoke about that a lot.
Mhm.
Any final words, Clara?
I think just do it because you're gonna do it anyway. Like just
Do
do
what?
it. Like I'm speaking to the audience right now. I
Yes.
forgot that people are listening, but like just
Yeah.
do it. If you want to do something, just do it because you're gonna do it anyway. But like also regarding life coaching, just do it.
Just do it. Do it all.
Do it because like why wouldn't you want to help yourself, you know? Yeah, get your ego out of your butt and just do life coaching. That's the mantra for the end of it.
We're going to take that and run with it.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, Clara, so much. And thank you all for being here and for listening. And for all of you, if this resonated, if you have questions for us too, definitely hit us up on social media.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'll put Clara's links in the show notes as well, so you can reach out to her. And obviously, you know where to find me. And
Just tell me where you're coming from so that I know that it's like a viewer from here, so that I'm not like, what?
Like, who is this person? But yes, definitely reach out to us. We'd be happy to continue the conversation further. Thank you for being you and for trusting me and for trusting yourself.
Thanks for being an awesome life coach, friend, dance teacher, woman, human.
Thank you.
Thank you.